Hello and welcome to the Namati Photo Training class. Today, we'll be discussing the language of photography. At the end of this class, you should be able to not only take better pictures, but be able to express your thoughts and ideas through nothing more than an image. First thing you need to understand is that photography is a language. Every photo is trying to tell you, the viewers, something. Whether that is the struggles of poverty 100 years ago or the struggles of poverty today. It could be the dignity of work or joys of family. Each one of those images is not just a snapshot in time, but also a commentary on those moments. As we continue with the lessons, keep thinking to yourself how you can use these ideas to say something through your pictures. When constructing an image, the first thing to decide is the shot type. A shot type refers to the size of the subject in the image. Starting with the closest shot type, we have the close-up. This shot is from the neck to the top of the head. This shot is very good at conveying the thoughts and emotions of the subject, but it tells you nothing about their context or their life. For example, this image here, you can understand that this person is calm, perhaps a bit curious, but you can't tell where they are or what they are doing. We only understand them, nothing around them. Next, we have the medium close-up. This shot goes from the stomach or the chest to the top of the head. This shot is still good for letting the viewer understand the emotions of the character, but lets you know a little more about their surroundings. For instance here, you can still see this man's serious but neutral expression, but we also get a little more about his life and surroundings. Like we know he is in a house and probably like photography, giving the photo of the camera in the background. It is a good middle ground for giving the context to the subject without pulling so far away that you distance the audience from the thoughts and feelings of the subject. Further away, we have the medium shot. This shot goes from the waist to the top of the head. This shot still lets you see some emotions of the subject, but the audience's understanding of the nuances of those emotions will be limited. It is a great shot for understanding not the thoughts of any individual, but the context and interplay between people. How does one person think of the other? Or what do they both feel about a situation? Like here, we can see this man's feelings for this woman he's next to. We understand that there is an emotional dynamic between these two people. We may not be able to know exactly what the emotion is, but we know it is there. Or in this photo, we understand that this is a party. We can see the dynamic between these two is that this man is mildly interested or bored with this conversation. Next is the full shot. This covers from the feet to the top of the head. From here, you can see that we lose a lot of emotions of the subject, but we gain a lot of information about the context our subject is in, where they are, what they are doing, what is around them, and what their body language is saying. Here, we lose a lot of thoughts and emotions, but we know she is a cyclist. She is in a city. Her typical clothes let us know that a bike is probably a mode of transport. We can see a lot about her life and the world around her, but we lose our internal thoughts. Last, we have the wide shot, which places the subject small in the frame. This lets you know a lot about the subject's context. For example, you can understand almost everything about this person's life. He is a rancher. He lives in a rural area. he raises cattle. The buildings in the background tell me that he does not live so remotely. Again, a white shot can tell us all about what is around a subject, but it can't say anything about how they feel or think about their situation. So white shots are all about the outer world, with no interior understanding of the subject. Now you may have noticed that the further away you get from your subject, the less you understand about their thoughts and emotion, and the more you understand about the world around them. So use this to your advantage to communicate to your audience. What are you trying to say with your image? What is the most important aspect? Is this about how someone feels? Is it about the interplay between people? Is it about where someone is or what is happening to them? Ask yourself these questions and you will get a better sense of what shot type you want to use to speak through your images. So once you have picked the shot type you want, think about the shot angle. There are three primary angles. One is the eye level, two is the low angle, and the last one is the high angle. Eye level has the camera placed at the same height as your subject. For people, this is their eyes. For other objects, just make sure your camera is parallel to the ground when shooting them. This usually speaks to a bit of normalcy or equality. We, the audience, are on the same level as the subject we are viewing, so we see them as equals. This is compared to the low angle shot, where the camera is placed below the subject looking up. This denotes some sort of power, dominance or authority. They are bigger than us, the audience, so stronger. You can think about this in your normal life. When you were a kid, you had to do what your parents told you. And when you speak to them, you saw them from below. They were bigger than you and so had more power and authority. And even in our adult life, this visual shorthand is used. Think about a court. The judge is oftentimes placed on a raised platform, so that even seated, they are higher than everyone else. This is because the judge is supposed to be a symbol of the law, and no one should have more power than the law. The opposite of this will be a high angle, where the camera is placed above the subject and look down at them. If low angle means power, then high angle means weakness or powerlessness. So think about what you want to say about your subject's power or social standing. This will let you choose what angle you want to shoot from. For instance, if a person is sitting, you may just take a picture of them while you are standing. But understand that this will make them look weak or low in power and status. If you want your audience to see this person as an equal, then you may need to shoot from your knees to get lower. Or if you want to show that they have some kind of moral power or authority in a situation, even though seated, you may want to shoot them from a low angle to give them more of that power. Now that you know some of the basic concepts, let us try and apply this to some real scenarios. On your computer, open up a notepad and for the following prompt, write down what shot type and angle you would use. And most importantly, write down in 2 to 4 sentences the reason you will use the shot type and angle for the shot. Now remember, photography is a language, not a math equation. There is many ways to say the same thing. It is important to know that there is no right or wrong answer. How you are thinking about it is what is important. So pause the video here and take 10 to 15 minutes to come up with and write down your answers. Here are some possible answers. For the first prompt, you might use a wide shot with the leader shot from a low angle and the group shot for eye level to place the audience with the people. For the second prompt, maybe a medium close-up with a high angle. This will show the powerlessness the person feels and get us close enough to know and understand their emotions. Third prompt could be something like medium shots at eye level to show the house and family in the background, linking them to the family. For the last prompt, maybe a full shot from a low angle to give them power and see both the context, environment, and the subject. Last thing we'll be discussing today is basic composition. Composition is how you frame and place objects and subjects in your picture to create your image. If that is a little confusing, that is okay. It will be more clear to you once we go through a few examples. First on our list is the rule of thirds. This is a way to compose an image by dividing your image into thirds, both vertically and horizontally. Once you have your frame divided, you want to place your subject on one of the intersecting points, like so. See here how in this image, they place the boy's eyes on the intersection of the upper and right third. Or in this image, where they put the tower in the upper left intersection. This makes the image look pleasing and in balance. If you want to make someone feel stable and pleasing, the rule of third is a good quick go-to composition that you want to use. Next is center framing. This is when you place your subject in the middle or center of the image. This usually communicates authority or importance. Like here, by placing the teacher in the center, we suggest that they hold some authority or importance. Or here, the imam clearly holds importance to this space and picture. If you have someone speaking to a group of people and you want to showcase their importance over the crowd, center framing will be a good option. Then there is looking room and headroom. This refers to the amount of space you give in front of the subject and edge of frame and how much space you give from the subject's head and the top of the frame. A lot of looking room gives the idea of comfort and security, as if the subject can see the future or see what is in front of them. But the reverse makes the image feels insecure, the future unknown, as if the subject has been stuck in a corner and can't see what is behind them. It builds tension of the unknown. Headroom works similar to short angle. The closer the subject is to the top of the frame, the more powerful and confident the subject will appear in the image. Conversely, the more space is above the subject, the more oppressive the world seems to feel. The smaller, the more helpless and more subjected our characters feel. You can use these ideas to completely change how an image feels. Lastly, we have leading lines. These are lines in the image that point where the subject is going or lead the eyes to the subject. Take this picture for instance. The railings and stairs give the character a direction to move to. They lead the eyes of the viewer forward towards the subject's destination. Or this one, where the concrete sides lead our eyes to the woman by the water. This makes the image easier to read, and it let the audience know the important part of the image. But if you want to make your viewer feel more confused, maybe try and express how a subject might be lost and not have a direction to move to. Then scatter these leading lines. Make them not point to the subject, but point in different directions to scatter the image and confuse the viewer's eyes. Remember, it is a language. Your picture does not have to be pleasing if you are trying to communicate something unsettling. Now that you've finished the first course, we have one more assignment for you. It is one thing to get book knowledge, but to really learn photography, you need to take some photos. Over the course of the next week, take 5 pictures a day and write down what it was you were trying to say with the photo and how you were saying it. Then next week, send your favorite 2 pictures and their notes to hello@apexsl.com. We will review them and send you our feedback. Now that you have a few concepts in your tool belt, I want you to think about how you might use these tools, this bit of language, to communicate ideas to your audience. Remember, just like a poem, there is no absolute right or wrong way to say something. It is your thought process that matters most. We hope you have learned a few things this lesson, and we look forward to seeing you again.